Also, welcome to part 5 of a Freespace overview. I'm Dr. Black, and this is Foxy Brown.
I'm not even going to say anything about that.
Okay, and this is a mission where we are attempting to assault the Hammer of Light in Beta Cygni. We are actually back with the Galaxy for this mission, and we get to talk to Admiral Wolf again. Isn't that great?
Yeah, not that. Go into Admiral later. Basically, this mission has you going into a cargo depot controlled by the Hammer of Light. You're to destroy it, essentially, and capture the Ramses.
Yeah, the Ramses. Another one of these Egyptian things going on around here.
Yeah, it's an A-10 class cruiser that you need to capture to get more intel about the Hammer of Light.
And basically, once they want you to disable it, and once you have disabled it, they're going to call an Omega and haul it away. And hopefully with this, we'll be able to get more information on the Hammer of Light and be able to interrogate the people on board. Ah yes, and we also need to destroy the cargo, because, important supplies in those cargo that are completely useless to GTA. Maybe not the PVN, but GTA at least.
I do find it interesting that their approach is just to blow the cargo up. I would have thought that they would have told the PVN to go pick it up, because at this point they're forced to work together.
Yeah. Oh yes, and this is the first mission where we actually have the shield technology.
Yeah, you actually get to use it, and it is really, really useful.
It is. Plus, the Hammer of Light doesn't have shields, so this mission should be pretty easy.
Yeah, everything here is pretty straightforward. You go in. I decided, instead of going after the Ramses initially, I decided to go after the fighters a bit, and then once they're off my back, try to go after the Ramses and disable it.
Yeah.
Now, Virgo comes in, and surprise, surprise, the Vasudans have shields.
Oh no.
Yeah, the Vasudan rebels have shields, which is actually pretty significant, because now that means you're fighting against two enemies who have equal technology and can pretty much fight you on the same plane.
Yeah, which it gives off the idea that perhaps the rebellion is larger than you initially thought it was, because there probably were people who were higher ranking who defected the Hammer of Light than originally anticipated.
Yeah, the Hammer of Light, if it's as big as this situation implies, I mean, that's extremely important for the rest of the war. I mean, they're working with the Shivans, and we already know how big of a threat the Shivans are.
Yeah. Even then, though, the Hammer of Light does have limited forces compared to all the other major powers in the systems. So the Hammer of Light strategy is to basically be crafty throughout all of their operations. They never really can attack something directly and make it out safely. It's not in their best interest.
Yeah, they usually use pretty unorthodox strategies. They're not as straightforward or obvious as the GTA or the PVN normally would be.
Yeah.
Surprise! Shivan cruiser, the Tyranus, comes in.
A Shivan class cruiser just jumped in. It's the Tyranus.
Hey, remember how we said this would be a straightforward mission? It wasn't.
Yeah, it turns out that with the Tyranus coming in and the Hammer of Light having shields, this has gone from being pretty routine and straightforward to a bit messy real quick.
Yeah, the entire operation is kind of a bust after this. I wouldn't say we lost anything in the confrontation, it's just that because we still, because actually, in these clips here, he still goes after the cargo.
Yeah, we still get rid of the cargo, so the Hammer of Light's lower on supplies, and like we said earlier, they don't have the type of material that all the other forces have, so...
Yeah, so this is actually, pretty big blow.
Yeah, the Tyranus goes on and actually just starts taking the Ramses out, just straightforward. I mean, it just goes after it.
We would go after the Tyranus, but right now, like, we've got limited people on our side, plus the fighter escort with the Tyranus, and the fact that right now we're in a situation where we're not well equipped because we're flying in Valkyries. So, like, engaging it right now isn't even an option, really.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm just taking out the cargo, finishing this objective, and my plan is just to head home after, assuming the Ramses is destroyed and whatever reason the Tyranus doesn't finish that part of its mission.
And at that point, the Tyranus does manage to destroy the Ramses, and after that, and with the cargo destroyed as well, we go ahead and return to base. But not before we go ahead and clear the area of the rest of Shevens.
Yeah, I decided to pad my kills a bit, try to go for that ace status.
Yeah. Bitches don't know about my ace status. Okay, we jump out, and here we get to the debriefing.
Basically, they go over how it's unfortunate that the Tyranus has been interfering with all operations in Beta Cygni, which is weird because they really don't talk too much about the Tyranus or at all before this mission.
Don't get me wrong, I can buy the fact that it could and would be. The real problem is Beta Cygni is kind of like a one-way. It's like a one-way street, and like us not already knowing about the Tyranus until this mission, especially because they're acting like you should know about it.
Yeah.
Like the way they're talking. It's like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
But it's not a major issue or anything I had. I just found it a bit interesting that they kind of make it seem like you should know.
Like, they're just kind of talking about it, how like, yeah, it's been disrupting so many things in the system. I'm like, oh, it has been. Okay.
I guess you just haven't been on any missions where it's been a part until
I mean,
this one.
perhaps you don't know because you've been in IKEA.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once again, it's a one-way street, so the Tyranus would have had to. You still figured you would have known, you know?
Yeah. But again, my guess is that you just weren't doing any operations that were interrupted by it.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Good morning, pilots. I'm going to get right to it. The Sheevan forces are sprouting up everywhere, and it's no secret that our front lines are taking a beating. As you probably know, no one has been able to communicate with them, and Terran intelligence has no leads on their origins or their motives. On the upside, their shielding technology seems to be working just fine for us. By this afternoon, all fighters stationed on the Galatée will have been fitted with them. Try to keep them intact, all right? The cruiser Tyranus is suspected to be the source of command for the Shevens in this sector. It's here in the IKEA system, and we suspect it's low on fighters and supplies due to its recent attack runs. We have reason to believe it will soon jump to another system to resupply. We don't know where it will jump to, but there is only one subspace node out of IKEA, and we intend to blockade it. In the interest of learning more about the slippery bastards, we're going to attempt something bold: the capture of the Tyranus. If this goes off, it will give us an opportunity to study Sheevan technology up close, and bag a few live Shevens in the process. In order to do this, we will conduct a series of missions designed to take out the cruiser's escorts and defenses. Time to chip away at the boulder, people. That is all. Report to your flight leaders for your orders. Dismissed!
You enter into a command briefing about the Tyranus, which, like we said before, you really didn't know about until that last mission, and they didn't elaborate much on it until that mission there.
Now, for this particular mission, we'll be getting the Athena Bombers and the Stiletto Bomb, which is basically so we can disable the Tyranus and capture it, as said in the cutscene.
Yeah, it's... The Athena Bomber, I just have an issue with it. They say in this command briefing that it's maneuverable enough to be a fighter, and yet it's a bomber and everything. Okay. But here's the problem I have with it. It's doesn't really carry anything. It doesn't carry any major bomb. It doesn't carry any sort of heavy weapon. It only has 2 gun mounts. It's not special. And it also can't dogfight worth crap because it's essentially an Apollo that has no maneuverability. It's like a slow Apollo that can't carry any sort of missile. So basically, it is the most useless fighter that you get in this game, in my opinion.
I guess it can hold a stiletto.
Yeah, but you see, stilettos are useless at pretty much
Yeah,
everything.
because that's the thing. Because I actually like the stilettos. It's just, you don't really use them ever again.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but quite frankly, you might as well use the other bombs and missiles that come later in the game.
Yeah, might as well.
This bomber is extremely useless.
It's like, it doesn't have much application outside of this mission,
Yeah.
specifically.
There is no incentive that you have to use this again unless you really, really like the design.
Which, I think it's not. I like the design, personally. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, but practically, there's nothing special about this thing, and it is the most like I said, the most useless fighter that you get in this game.
I concur, good sir.
And you jump right into the mission briefing where it talks about how the Tyranus is basically low on supplies. We've kind of been beating it down, trying to weaken it.
And now it's got limited fighter escort, and it's trying to make its way to Beta Cygni.
Basically, it's running.
Yeah, running. Because in IKEA, there's nowhere else to go but Beta Cygni.
Yeah, it's the only place. And you're given actually a sizable force. This is one of the larger forces you get earlier in the game.
Yeah.
And it's all simply to carry out this operation, which is unprecedented, quite frankly.
Yeah. Because even in the cutscene that was shown before, when Admiral Wolf said they were going to try to capture the Tyranus, everybody, they didn't get loud about it, like a classroom or anything, but they were kind of like, oh, jeez, like, oh, we're going to capture it?
Yeah, it's something that you really kind of wouldn't expect them to try, because, I mean, it's dangerous, really.
It is.
I actually choose here, as you can see, I go to the weapons loader, and I actually choose to get more stilettos, because I really don't use the Furies. I figured I could just use the Avenger Cannon in combination with the Disruptor.
Now, they kind of over-exaggerate how the Tyranus is doing. Don't get me wrong, its fighter escort's on its last legs, but the Tyranus itself is on 98%, so...
I mean, it has a little bit of subsystem damage, but it's really not in bad shape, if we're honest.
Yeah, like, if we weren't bringing a sizable force, this would be a much more difficult operation.
Yeah, but because we specifically set out this force to do this isn't actually too bad.
Yeah.
And I actually order the other wings around. I order Beta to cover me particularly, and I order Gamma to engage all enemies so they can to protect everyone.
Yeah.
As you see here, I head straight towards the Tyranus, and I basically try to disable it. As you can see, the stilettos are actually fairly effective. I miss a couple times trying to get a somewhat indirect angle, so I come back around here and finish it off with the Disruptor Cannon.
And you know what? This is a moment when I want to bring this up, is because going back to that negative review of Freespace Open, where that guy talked about how, oh man, it's kind of hard to, like, when, like, the ship's moving and you're trying to hit something in particular on it, and, like, you keep running into it, and, like, it's hard to target, and, like, what they needed to do was make a match velocity button, so you can match speed and direction to make this easier. I'm like, you suck at the game. I'm sorry, you suck at the game.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, because if you match direction as well as speed, you're essentially taking a lot of the piloting out of the game.
Yeah, like, I mean, think about it. If that button really existed, just press that and then press the fire button and win the game.
Yeah, pretty much. There isn't as much you'd have to do.
Like, dogfighting would be the most pointless exercise. It'd basically be who can get behind the other person first and press that button quickly enough.
Yeah, whatever key it is. Right now, I think the way they set it up as it is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. In fact, I go around disabling the Tyranus' systems. One thing I would like to point out, I did not target the turrets because I thought it was pretty clear where they were since they're shooting at you.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough on that one.
Yeah, and I actually just look around for where it's firing to go ahead and take it out. Now, you can target the smaller subsystem stuff. I just wanted to put that out there so no one has a misconception about what you can actually do.
Oh, actually, speaking of the turrets, I believe we didn't mention this in previous parts. Freespace 1 turrets actually can do a pretty good deal of damage to shields.
Yeah.
From Freespace 2, I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is, but maybe it's because weapons just get better in general, and cruisers and capital ships and freighters have, well, not freighters, but they have weapons that make other tasks easier, so maybe they figured we don't want to overpower them by giving them the same capacity with their turrets. But here, they're actually a threat. Later on, in Freespace 2, they become not really such a big deal.
Yeah, I think what happens, because in Freespace 2, when I played, I feel that the shields are a little bit stronger. So I mean, I feel like I can take more hits in Freespace too.
Yeah, so you could argue that it's easily just like we increase the technology to a higher standard. Basically, you could argue that.
Yeah, but I actually continue to disable the rest of the Tyranus systems just for the sake of doing it. I actually enjoy blowing up subsystems for some reason.
Hey man, give you something to look at.
Yeah.
Nice explosions, mini explosions.
I go ahead and disable the rest of its systems, and Omega comes in and tries to attach, which it fails to do because apparently achievement holes are extremely thick.
Yeah, because I think you actually said that. So I was wondering what the difference between Omega and Omega 2 was. Now, it's possible that maybe Omega 1 was trying, like you said, was trying to dock.
Yeah, Omega, from what I can tell, Omega 1 was trying to dock, could not dock, and Omega 2 tried to just straight cut through the hole and latch on. Couldn't do that either.
Yeah, so after both fail, we have to call in Hawkins, which takes a good amount of time, because you just kind of got to sit there and wait for both Omegas to fail. Then you got to wait for Hawkins to attach. And then when it finally attaches, it starts towing the Tyranus to Tombaugh Station.
Yeah, in the middle of that, there's a whole bunch of fighting, because, you know, this is something I'd like to point out about the Shivan's nature. Unlike the Vasines in this situation, probably would have given up on the ship, and if they wouldn't have given up on it, they probably would not have even put it in a situation like this where it could have been captured. The Shivans just keep sending wave after wave of fighters to try to destroy the Tyranus to shut down this operation so you can't capture it.
Yeah, like, it's just, they seem to just not care about the lives of anyone who's aboard their ships at all. It's not a big deal to them.
They don't start caring about anything.
It's like they care more about the ships than the actual people in them is the key thing here.
Which is interesting because generally, I mean, even the Vasines have a sort of a self-preservation kind of thing going on. Mm-hmm. But the Shivans don't seem to have that attribute. It seems to be more they would care more about the actual cruiser itself than the pilots they're basically wasting, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Defending it or trying to destroy it or take it back. Yeah, at this point we get to the end of the mission and we're just heading towards the node. And if you notice in the top right where it shows your wingmen, there were a good amount of losses here. I mean, most of the task force survived. I mean, 7 out of the 12. Yeah, 7 out of the 12 are still alive. A lot of damage, but most everyone is alive. But as you can see, in the bottom left, guy's heavily damaged. Well, damaged pretty badly. Top right, he's damaged pretty badly. But all in all, it went pretty well. You end up tow the cruiser back to Tombaugh Station, as they said. And the mission in general actually goes pretty well. There's no hiccups like in other missions with the Shivans where they actually completely just trick you.
Yeah. So this operation goes entirely smoothly. No hitches involved.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, the capturing of the Tyranus is actually a pretty big victory. I mean, you're talking about...
victory. Mm-hmm.
You're talking about us finally actually having a legitimate blow to the Shivans, especially... Since
blow to the Shivans.
Especially since they, the GTA and the PVN have pretty much just been losing a lot.
Oh yeah, totally. Because I think the Shivans are they actually got a really good foothold in Antares. In the time in between these missions was before the Terrans were finally getting fighting to be able to take Antares, and they were going to head to Vasuta Prime. Shivans show up and it's like, no, Antares is ours.
Yeah, and here you see the Tyranus and the Hulkins jumping out, and at this point the mission ends. I tell everyone to go home, and I go home myself.
And with that, Fox here got the Lieutenant Junior grade promotion, and he got the Good Conduct Medal, because he conducts himself so well.
Yeah, you can continue adding to your rank and get more medals. Really, the rank doesn't matter too much in the game.
You get authority more and more authority as the game goes on, regardless of like really how much you've ranked up.
Yeah.
It's more noticeable in Freespace 2 than 1
Yeah.
because the squadrons are more people. There's more of a big deal made about squadrons in 2. But in 1, once again, you go up and like you already have authority in the beginning, and you just take more authority as the game goes on, no matter what you do, really.
Yeah, I think the lowest. I've actually never finished the game lower than Lieutenant Commander. So I don't think.
First time I played through Freespace 1, I got to the rank of Commander.
Yeah, the first time I played through, I got to Commander as well. But again, since it's on the lower difficulty, I can't actually.
Now, before we sign off, I need to tell you all a horror story. In my hands here, I have a legit copy of Freespace 1. This is the, well, when I say legit copy, I mean I'm a physical copy. It's not a digital copy. And I do not know what was up with my disc. If anyone who's ever played the disc version of Freespace 1, maybe they can attest to this. But whenever something would interrupt Freespace and I tried to open it back up, I'd just come back to a blank screen. Like, if something interrupted Freespace 2 on my computer, I could just click on the Freespace 2 icon and I could go right back to the mission. Freespace 1, I'd hear the sounds of the mission, but it'd just be a blank screen. And I could not open it back up. And on this Tyranus mission, Hawkins is almost to the jump node, ready to jump out, and then, out of nowhere, zone alarm, and I have to start the whole mission over again.
Yeah, and it's really awful because the mission's a good 15 minutes long, pretty much.
Which I wouldn't have even cared so much if it weren't for the fact that I had to sit through Omega and Omega 2 and Hawkins trying to dock again, and then wait for them to get to the node when I'd already basically finished the mission.
Yeah. Overall, I really like the mission because you kind of feel like you accomplished something by the end of it.
Yeah, and I don't want to like badmouth the mission by saying, "Oh, it's not worth playing through again." It's more that I had finished it and I wanted to see the next mission because like that was my first playthrough of the game at the time.
Yeah. That concludes our overview, number 5.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more interesting stuff next time.
And you'll hear all about our great victory over the Shivans with our taking of the Tyranus. Yep.